down to it. We've got an NHL update now, and here's Dave Hodge. The New York Islanders have taken the lead, and Bossy, the hot one again for the Islanders. There's his shot.
Bossy, you know, he snipes them like anybody in the National Hockey League. One of the best over the years, and you saw in that shot, he just had too much on it. The Ranger goaltender to handle. The Islanders are tough on the road as well as at home.
Mickey, notice the way that Bossy shoots that puck. He's striding while he's shooting the puck. He doesn't stop to get ready. He just cocks it as he's skating and lets it rip.
A lot of times you catch that goaltender by surprise. He's looking for you to stop skating and then let the shot go. But if you let it go in full stride, you're wondering what went by me so quickly.
It's cleared down the ice. There'll be a penalty against the Quebec Nordiques. And here it comes.
Now, Lecrae reached over the top of Mike.
We've got more scoring now between the Islanders and the Rangers, and Prevail gets the goal here. Let's watch it. They drop it in. Obviously, a face-off deep in the zone. Prevail gets in front.
Isn't that one of those face-off problems again? You've got to win those face-offs or at least tie them in your own end. Give everyone a chance to get to their men in question.
This is Dave Hodge in our NHL Control Center here in Toronto. Before we take you to Madison Square Garden in New York for live second period action of the Ranger-Islander game, let's recap what has happened so far. The score is tied 1-1. Mike Bossy opened the scoring for the Islanders, his fifth of the playoffs, and then Robbie Ftorek, who's been quite a scoring story for the Rangers, evened the count less than 2 minutes later, his sixth goal of this playoff year. Shots were even in the first period at 6. The Rangers have just killed off an early second period penalty. And now we go to Madison Square Garden. The announcers are Islander broadcasters Jiggs McDonald and Eddie Westfall.
Goals at 12-12, the Islander goal, and then 14:06, the Ranger goal back in the first period.
We should have started keeping track of offside at the beginning of the game.
We wouldn't have enough paper.
It would have been interesting to see how the tally went against each other as far as the number of offsides by the Islanders and by the Rangers.
Brent and Wayne Sutter along with Clark Gillies up front for the Islanders. Langevin is on defense with Lane. Here's Don Maloney centering. A shot just off the target for Prevail. Trying to come out in front of the Islander goal. And it's a bad name. He couldn't pick it up. Bad name, center ice. Long pass for Prevail, bumped by Lane. The two of them go to the boards together. Prevail played it off Wayne Sutter. Lane unable to send Sutter down the right side. It was a good play, but didn't work. Now Don Maloney banged into the boards by Gord Lane. Lane comes out of the corner being tied up. The puck cleared. Langevin unable to move it out of his own zone. Don Maloney around to Johnstone. Back to Don Maloney. Maloney trying to put it out in front of the net. Comes out himself, shoots, Smith the save. It's on the doorstep and cleared by Gord Lane. Good defensive play by Lane. He had Prevail all over top of him. Now Langevin starts up the left side. Dave Langevin into center ice. Fired it in over the Ranger line. It hit defenseman Carol Vadnais. Vadnais to Dave Maloney. Maloney, a long pass. McClanahan took his eye off the puck, then ran into Merrick, and back comes Caller. Caller trying to get away from Duguay, who hooked him. There'll be a penalty against Duguay. Islanders go to the power play. A break in the action. The score tied. Islanders won. The Rangers won.
Tied in New York, as the Islanders will have a power play chance to break that tie. It is also tied in Quebec City, 2-2 between the Bruins and the Nordiques, and the last score we had from Chicago was 3-1 in favor of the Blackhawks. They got 3 quick goals before Wayne Babbage came back with 1 for the Blues, and they're about 5 or 10 minutes away from dropping the puck in Los Angeles, Game 3, Kings against the Vancouver Canucks. We'll return with the Stanley Cup playoffs in just a moment.
Tonight, let's check in on this NHL update. The Islanders get a goal.
Well, Bobby Bourne doing the damage for the Islanders. And they're going to be tough, as I mentioned before, even in the Gardens. Of course, this is one of the biggest rivalries in the National Hockey League. And there's Bourne with a big wind-up slap shot, beating Eddie Mio of the Rangers in a 2-1 lead, New York Islanders.
And there in the second period. McNabb.
We have a sudden turn of events at Madison Square Garden in New York. Early in the third period, the Rangers have scored twice to take a 3-2 lead over the New York Islanders. It was 2-1 Islanders after 2 periods, and then at the 19-second mark of the third period, Reijo Ruotsalainen, the rookie defenseman from Finland, took this pass from Mike Rogers, and watch the move he makes at the defense. And a perfect shot beats Billy Smith, and that tied the score at 2. We'll see it again. Mike Rogers, a fine playmaker, had given the puck to Ruotsalainen, and there's the shot that ties the game at the 19-second mark. Now, Mike McEwen loses the puck at his own blue line, and it is stolen by Mike Allison. He'll keep the puck when a pass was expected. Langevin diving, and Allison beats Billy Smith, who was down and out on the play before that shot ever took place. Mike McEwen lets Mike Allison get around him. Langevin must play the puck. And look at Smith. He's out of position as that shot by Allison beats him. Now, in the third period, Rangers leading 3-2. We are going live to Jiggs McDonald and Eddie Westfall at the Garden in New York.
Still more than 15 minutes to play in regulation time as Fatio backhands one in front of the Islander goal. Goring picks it up in the left wing, starts out with Nystrom and John Tonelli. Goring into center ice. Long shot blocked by Meal, just fed it out of the reach of Tonelli, and Cam Connor dumps it into center ice. Here's Nick Fatio giving it to Gary Burns. A shot wide of Smith on the glove side. Burns really pulled the trigger on that one. Islanders in the middle of a change as Andre Dory handed it right to Gillies. Mark Gillies unable to slip around to check. Now here's Merrick from the blue line. His shot deflected. Neal leaves it back of the net. Laidlaw plays it up the middle. Burns gave it to Don Maloney, who cuts to the right. Rangers completing their player change. The pass went to Beck. His long shot that bounced off McEwen. Here's Fatorik with the rebound. Unable to center as to hit Langevin. Fatorik pokes it into the corner. It's knocked away from Don Maloney, and McEwen starts out. Mike McEwen into center ice. Left side to Gillies, over the Ranger line. Back to McEwen, and he couldn't take the pass. He couldn't get the stick on it, tried to get a skate on it. That didn't work. Now the puck is dumped right back into the Ranger zone. Eddie Johnstone parks back of his own goal. Starts out on the right side. Long pass to Don Maloney. Rink wide, off the boards. Fatorik moved in. Potvin cleared it, but right into the Islander bench. There is a break in the action. Little less than 14 minutes to play. The score, New York Rangers 3, New York Islanders 2.
Do not fear, you're not missing any of the overtime in Quebec City. We will go back to that game between the Bruins and the Nordiques as soon as they drop the puck for the extra period. Again, in New York, at the Garden, 2-1 Islanders after 2 periods, and then the quick goals, which you have seen by Reijo Ruotsalainen and by Mike Allison to bring the Rangers into a tie and then put them into the lead. This series has all the makings of 7 games and toss a coin at the end of the 7th one. Let's now get back to New York.
Just over 6 minutes played here in the third period, Jiggs. The teams have opened up some. They're skating well, a little more open ice skating than we've seen in the first 2 periods.
Now we watch as Gord Lane plays it up the left side at center ice for Bourne. Bourne over the line, Trottier trailing, took the pass from Bourne, but couldn't get back in the Ranger net. He and Allison collided heavily. The puck comes to Lane, and off his stick at the blue line. Lane gets it over to Potvin. Potvin fires it around the boards. It got away from Meal. That's Bryan Trottier to Bourne, and he fired it just wide. Comes back to Potvin. From the blue line, it was tipped by Bossy and wide of the net. Off the boards, here's McClanahan for the Rangers. Bob McClanahan put it into center ice.
Okay, we'll break away from Madison Square Garden in New York. We'll keep you updated on that. They're just about to start the overtime in Quebec City, so now we'll take you back to Le Colisée and Bob Cole.
Coach one, here's an update for you. And Bourne scores for the Islanders, so it's 9-3.
It looks like Bob Bourne, Johnny on the spot, and this one his second goal in the hockey game. Looks like they're going to have a whale of a finish.